And listeners, in case you get this and you're in Southern California, anywhere close to it, the next event is the 19th of June, and then after that is July 10th and August 14th. What's the pattern there? Is that the second something?
Typically, we do it on the second Sunday of the month. We are switching it up in June because we have always run into a conflict with the LA Pride Festival in West Hollywood. And in fact, we feel like it's important for Sunday Assembly to have a presence at Pride. So we've just signed on yesterday, as a matter of fact, to have a booth at the LA Pride Festival and to show our support for our LGBT family, friends, and Sunday Assembly members.
And so if you're going to this for the first time, it's on 817 Vine Street. And what's the building that you're in?
We rent an auditorium from the Professional Musicians Local. We are right in the heart of Hollywood on Vine Avenue between Melrose and Santa Monica Boulevards. Easy to find, and surprisingly for Los Angeles, easy parking.
Well, it was easy parking once I figured out the trick. So listeners, if you're going to this, you pretty much you get the impression that you're driving into a building. I embarrassed myself, but I drove around the block 3 times, and there's a big wrought iron and then part of it a chain link fence, and I found the automated gate to get out, but I'm like, how in the hell do I pull into this lot? And there's a main building and a smaller connected building and a little breezeway connecting them, and that's where you drive in. So if you can't figure it out, just take this little tip from Phil. You pretty much drive into that space between the buildings and go in, park your car, they check you in, they give you a name badge, and like you said, that's once a month for the big meeting, but you've got stuff all the time.
Yeah, whatever your interests are, movie nights, discussion groups, karaoke nights, game nights, social events like that, service events. We keep a pretty full calendar that you can find everything on our website.
Excellent. Well, is there anything about Sunday Assembly or Sunday Assembly LA that we haven't talked about that you want to fit in?
Not about LA in particular, but we are coming up on the annual Sunday Assembly Conference, which this year is being held in the Netherlands, but it was just decided today. In fact, I probably shouldn't even reveal too much yet, but I will tell you that the Sunday Assembly Conference 2017 will be back in the United States, and without going into too much detail, I will suggest that it's going to have a view of the Pacific Ocean.
I was waiting for that. Well, that might be my excuse to come back to the West Coast, wherever that might happen to be.
We'd love to have you.
It was funny. It was one of the things that people promised me that we would have sun every day, and it was cloudy almost every day I was there for an entire 9-10 days.
Well, because you know the old song, it never rains in Southern California.
Yeah, it never rains. I did have raindrops, not real rain, but I had raindrops on 4 different days, and people were freaking out that how could that happen. And, of course, back in Champaign, Illinois, it was 5 to 10 degrees warmer every day. Of course, we did get rain virtually every day. I came back to a jungle for a yard, so I had to mow it, and, of course, it rained again and then rained today, so I've got to go mow it again. But Ian, thank you so much for being on the show, and I look forward to seeing you in D.C. at some point and maybe at another Sunday Assembly.
Phil, it's been a super pleasure. Thanks for coming out. We'll see you again soon.
Hey, thanks. Have a good night.
All right, you too.
You're listening to The Phil Ferguson Show on Secular Media Network.
All right, of course, we're about ready to wrap up the show, and once again, we're pushing the hour limit, but that's all right. We're having a good time, aren't we? Just a quick couple of things coming up here real soon. Just in about a week, I guess maybe 2, I will be at the American Humanist Association Conference in Chicago. Very excited about that. Often I have people talking to me and saying, well, there's not a conference in Chicago. Well, for those listeners who are in Illinois, and that's probably a really big state for me because I'm here, here you go. Here's your chance. Big conference with big names in Chicago, Illinois. That's the weekend of May 27th, 28th. I will probably be driving up on the 26th, just so I'm there early and I can relax in a hotel. It's kind of funny. I like traveling to a point. I did find that my 10-day speaking tour in California did actually kind of stress me out a little bit more than I expected. I don't know if it was the LA traffic, and that might have had a lot to do with it, I had a time where I had to drive 30 miles, and in Champaign, of course, Champaign, Illinois, and anywhere pretty much in the Midwest, if you're not in a big city, if you have to drive 30 miles, it'll take you about 30 minutes. If the traffic's really bad, you can add 5 or 10 minutes. Now in Chicago, my rule of thumb is I'd usually double that amount of time, and you'd still be about there. But I had a 30-minute drive in L.A. that took me 1 hour and 40 minutes. So 100 minutes to go 30 miles. So a factor of 3, 3 plus. And, of course, people kept telling me, well, that's normal. Yeah, so I don't think I'd want to drive an hour or two to work and back every day. I actually did that before. When I worked in Chicago, I was living in Joliet, and I had a 42-mile commute, and that would take me an hour to an hour and 15. But I do remember one time it snowed, and I got home about 7 p.m., and I remember my wife greeting me at the door, and she said, well, considering the snow, 2 hours is not too bad. And I said, honey, I left work at 3. So I spent 4 hours to drive home, 10 miles an hour average for 4 hours in heavy falling snow, cars in the ditches everywhere. So not cool stuff to do. Anyway, back to conferences. Of course, as soon as I get back from the American Humanist Conference, I'll probably be home Sunday night. I then have to hop on a plane Wednesday to go to D.C. for the Reason Rally. The events there will start Thursday morning, and you go check out reasonrally.org. Lots and lots of things to do. Of course, if you go to the Reason Rally, and you should, after it's over on Saturday, get back to your hotel, and hopefully your hotel is either by the mall or over by the airport. But if you can get over to the airport area, you want to look for Hyatt Crystal City. That is where the really big party is going to be, that I will be the DJ at. It starts at 8, and I think they're going to have some food and drink. There is a ticket price. I think it's $25 or $50. So you get some food for that. And you show up, and you're going to hear 1 and 2 bands, and then after that, probably around 10 or 11 until 2 in the morning, I'm going to DJ. So 2 in the morning is going to come real quick, and we're going to have a hell of a time. So go check out the Hyatt Crystal City if you're at the Reason Rally, and look for me as the DJ and join me and say hello if you're a listener. I'd be honored to do that. And then, of course, luckily we got a few weeks off, and I can enjoy that and relax a little bit. And then coming in, I think it's August. Yes, August 12th, 13th is Gateway to Reason 2 in St. Louis. So I'm going to be there for that. But I finally will get a few weeks, maybe even more than a whole month off where I'm not traveling somewhere. So I'm looking forward to that. The other thing about the show, because of more and more listeners, people sharing the show, and because of being on Dogma Debate for a long time and recently being on shows like Cara Santa Maria and, of course, the Thinking Atheist show, Seth was kind enough to have me on there. This show has exploded and gone from last year, 3,000 listens a month, to this month that we just finished. I go from the 13th to the 13th for some strange reason. About 32,000 listens in 1 month, a much bigger number than I deserve. So thank you for that. I appreciate it, and I appreciate all the kind reviews. And I now get quite a few emails, often more than 1 or 2 a day, talking about the show and how it's helping them out. And that's really cool. I mean, that's why I do it. So anyway, I guess I'll just wrap up there. And once again, thank you for listening to the Phil Ferguson Show. Ciao.